Okay, we're live.
Okay, we are live, guys, and I know a lot of you are excited for today's session. Very, very important and a very, very special guest with us, and we will chit chat a lot with her, get to know her story of living with type 1 diabetes. But before that, I would like to welcome you all to yet another Blue Circle workshop on a Sunday evening. And as more and more people start joining us, we will pick up the Q&A and get to talk with our guest today. But as we see more people are joining in, let us know how you are doing in the comments. Did you have like a cheat day today because it's a Sunday? And how your sugars have been. So just saying a quick hi to everyone. And those of you who don't know me, I am Snehal. I live with type 1 diabetes since the last 22 years, and I'll be completing my 23rd year just in the last week of December. So, yes, 23 years of living with type 1 diabetes, and I am based out of Mumbai. So, yes, hi Suresh, good evening. Good evening to everyone who's joining us. And we are ready, we are excited for a very, very fun session today and a very, very special guest with us. As you can see, also, you can read from the title, we have with us Princess Padmaja Kumari Parmar, and I know she's been traveling a lot. She has a very busy schedule, so we are very, very grateful and very, very thankful for her to find the time and join us, join our Facebook community here at Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation. So thank you so much, Princess.
Oh, my pleasure, Snehal. Thank you, Anupur, for having me.
Yes. And before
Thank
we
you.
start, I'd just like to give a quick intro of our special guest today. We all know she's the Princess Padmaja Kumari Parmar, the daughter of House of Mewar, which was the former royal house of Udaipur, Rajasthan, here in India. But other than the title, I would say that her actions speak louder, and her the causes that she supports are very, very impactful. She has wide interest in philanthropy, hospitality, and health as well. And she's also the founder of an NGO which is Friends of Mewar, that promotes towards women empowerment, their health, as well as to preserve the cultural heritage. So this is a very, very short intro of all the beautiful and the amazing things that Princess does. And you can obviously go ahead and follow her on her social media handles, and also follow Friends of Mewar on all social media handles to see the kind of work they are doing to kind of preserve the cultural heritage, and they also work a lot towards women's empowerment, health, and education. So welcome, Princess, once again.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here and be here with your community. And really, Snail, you and Nupur have are doing what I see. And now we've been connected for over a couple of years to just see you do the work that you do, focused on type 1 diabetes and removing the stigma is an inspiration to me. And I appreciate the call today and being included in conversation, really, around type 1 and some of the stigmas, some of the pressures, some of the strengths, some of the weaknesses that surround this condition. I've had it for almost 40 years now. I was diagnosed at the age of 5. And but here I am, and surrounded by people such as yourselves. I feel I'm doing something right.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you so
absolutely
much.
right.
And like Snehal mentioned, special shout out to Princess Padmaja, because we know she's been traveling. She's short on time, and despite not being available at home in her office, she's still doing this call with us. And so we want to make the most of it. And I would encourage all our friends watching to please share your thoughts and comments and hellos in the comment box, like some of you have already done. We've got friends watching from Nepal as well. I know, Suresh, you're based in Nepal. So warm welcome to everyone once again, and can't wait for Princess Padmaja to launch our calendar officially on this lovely Sunday today.
Well, congratulations, really. I think what you've done with the calendar playing as the medium to bring the bigger thought and support and positivity around type 1 diabetes, featuring people who have it and are living full lives, which doesn't mean that there aren't challenges. My sugars, for instance, now are sort of a little high, so I'm managing that. But listen, life goes on. And Nupur and Snehal, through your foundation and Blue Circle, you're showcasing exactly that. And my interest and intent to want to be a part of this community is exactly that, to be able to share with people around the world. I mean, today we're on the social media platforms, so I'm hoping that not just in our areas or our region, but even regions beyond that can join forces and change the narrative around type 1 diabetes. Like I said earlier, I've had it for 40 years. I am changing the narrative change, just not fast enough and not enough either. I think, yes, some people are a little bit more aware. Are they aware enough? No. So I think we do have a long road ahead of us. But if we continue to do this, continue to stay committed to ourselves so we can be healthy and be role models to the best of our abilities to those who may be newly diagnosed or caretakers for those who are newly diagnosed. I think all three of us share that passion, and it's really such an honor and pleasure to be a part of this community with all of you. And today, you said, is a big day. We're not just celebrating one person or one story. It's really all of our stories, right? Which are very different, but we still converge on certain similar challenges that all of us face. So we're coming together to find strength among each other, but then also to rise to a point where those who might not have the access or might not know as much can. And once they do, they will also feel that much better, that much stronger, which is what our idea and interest and intent truly is.
Exactly. And I can see a lot of people jumping into the comments as well. Rajiv ji has had type 1 diabetes for over 60 years now, and he's quite the veteran, just like you.
All
Also,
right.
I see Harry who's coming in. Harry's, I think he's 10 years old, 9 or 10 years old. So him and his mom are watching. They're from Gujarat and settled in Pune. Then we've got Mandar, who's also based in Pune and a very, very active volunteer at all our school programs. So, good evening once again and welcome. Um, all right. Wanted to ask you, what was it like? I know you mentioned you were only 5 years old when you were diagnosed, but what was the diagnosis like? Do you remember some bits and pieces, and how did it feel? How did your family sort of manage?
I do remember a fair bit of it, and I have to be honest. I think a lot of the stories I hear about the early diagnosis and the feel around it. I was very fortunate that, in many ways, as strange as this might sound to a lot of your guests here today, it was a blessing. It was a blessing to get it at the age of 5, to actually make habits that felt natural, not something I had to learn. That was one element of it, to speak more generically. And the second part, which was, I think, even more important, was to have my caretaker be my mother, who has been and always been very positive and strong about it. So to answer your question, Nupur, when I had the diagnosis, that I don't remember any negativity or any sort of dejection of that nature. I don't. I think it happened to be one of those situations because of my mother's strength, where it came off to me as a child at that point that, okay, it's one of those, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. But I learned early enough because of her that having the discipline, having the commitment, weren't bad words. These aren't negative words. And because I was as young as 5, it became a very natural part of how I wanted to carry myself, because every time I saw myself do that, I felt better. Every time I showed commitment, every time I showed discipline, every time I showed up at the right time, doing the right thing, I felt better physically, mentally, emotionally. Um, and we all know anytime we get positive reinforcement, positive encouragement, it becomes quite natural to want to keep doing that, right? And so in that sense, um, I was lucky enough that, when I was playing and being active and eating well and getting the rest I needed, I was feeling well. So I wanted to continue to do that. Why would I not? Why would I not want to feel that way? So I think that started off at that age. I turned 45 now in January, and so those qualities they feel very innate. A lot of people tell me, "Oh, you're so disciplined." I'm not thinking about it. It's quite an innate response, and I personally feel all of us with type 1 have that somewhere within us, because we learn early enough that when we do things which are good for us, we feel better. And so that's my early memory, but it's never left me, and I'm just excited to share that with those, especially those who are newly diagnosed, that listen, don't let it bring you down. There isn't a reason to. There are many things that I can't name one thing that I haven't done because I've had type 1. There might be
Yeah.
things that I haven't done, but it might be because I wasn't able to for certain reasons. I didn't put in enough time, didn't put in enough of a commitment, was distracted by something else, or was inspired by something else. So there have been things I haven't done, but type 1 diabetes hasn't been the reason for that. And I want our community to know that once you put your mind to something, like anyone else, with or without type 1, um, we can achieve it. So don't let this condition be a hindrance to that dream.
I absolutely love how you highlighted the point of like getting diagnosed at a younger age was a little, like little helpful for us. And in
Right.
the community also, like there's this question that comes up like, was it better to be diagnosed at an early age or at a later age? And I know for me and Nupur as well, we were diagnosed when we were very young, and we kind of do not remember a life without type 1. So it was, I think,
Mhm.
very easy for us to like accept it and make those changes and be okay with it. And also thank you, Princess, for highlighting the importance of how it also, like, it's not just a physical condition, it also impacts you emotionally, mentally, and there's nothing that's stopping us even when you're living with type 1. So, and that's an important message for everyone here, because we have a lot of people from different age groups as well. And like you said, a few may be newly diagnosed, a few may be like veterans, they have been living with this condition for a long time. But I always say that if you're living with a chronic condition like type 1 diabetes, especially, that requires 24/7 attention, and there's not a single moment when you're not thinking of type 1 or like not thinking of your blood sugars. It can
Mhm.
be challenging, especially on your emotions, and especially for women. And
Mhm.
even when we are like planning the session with you, a lot of women in the community were very excited to hear you speak from a woman's perspective who's living with type 1 diabetes. So I quickly wanted to add one more question here, is like how your life has been from 5 years to like completing your education to starting your own business, starting your own NGO, and also having kids. So if you could
Right.
summarize things of how living with type 1 diabetes as a woman has been.
Well, it's a very interesting question, and like how you get that question asked to you, Snehal, I get that question asked to me as well. And initially, I don't think I was digging deep enough to find an answer, to be able to truly be able to connect with those who want to know what it means. And I feel I still haven't come to the bottom of that, but I do want to take this opportunity to share that, firstly, your initial point, that I don't remember my life without type 1. So and I'm a woman, so all I know is that this is how life is, which means that there have been pushbacks, there have been challenges, there have been triumphs, also there have been successes. And so life in that sense, with all of these couple of or some of these examples of how I've felt, Um, I want to state that thinking about something simultaneously has been so innate that to me, when I think back on hindsight, it only feels like a strength. So, as a woman, if I'm dealing with, just say, certain aspects of being a woman, certain hormones, certain changes, they have felt that, and dealing with type 1 to me hasn't felt like two separate topics, although they are. Although, if one is to look at it medically, they are. But when you're living with it within yourself, they somehow converge. And that convergence to me has been a strength. It is being about myself as a whole. What I mean by convergence is that these questions that you're asking about being a woman, certain challenges that are associated with it, type 1 diabetes, certain challenges that are associated with that, when it's within a person, they become one. It's dealing or thinking about it as a whole, but not as different pieces. Although at times you break it down, but you break down any problem sometimes, right? Any challenge you have, sometimes you want to break it down into pieces and then deal with it. So I have gone back and forth with both those philosophies. Sometimes I've just looked at it as a whole. It's made it easier for me to tackle it. There's certain times of the month where I'll feel my blood sugars fluctuate more than they do at the other times of the month, for example. But I don't divide that into being a woman and having type 1, for example. For me, that is all right. At this time, I just need to be a little bit more vigilant, just be a little bit more cautious and careful, make sure I give myself a little bit more time. And these are nothing dramatic, it's just being conscious and aware of it. At times, I don't need that additional time that may have kept. But just being aware of it has removed a lot of the stresses around it and a lot of the negative stigma that we all grow up with around type 1. I mean, I would be lying if I said that I haven't had that stigma. I have. I've never been ashamed of having type 1, but I've certainly felt that I don't want to share it with people because I've just felt they won't understand it because we weren't having these conversations in the 80s and the 90s. So it was more about not telling them because of the lack of their awareness than about me not being comfortable with it. So anyone who's newly diagnosed, and if you have something that I can address specifically, or Nupur or Snehal for that matter, we would of course love to know because it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be a burden all the time. It can be a challenge, but listen, we all overcome challenges, and every time we do, we're that much stronger, right? I mean, there's no exception to that. And I was lucky in many ways that my mother's thinking was such when I was a child. When she was thinking for me, she was thinking in this manner. So it became second nature. And again, I'm not trying to sugarcoat the challenges I have had about managing constantly, right? But I've just not looked at those challenges as burdens. And there's a difference. And please try and understand that just having a challenge doesn't mean it's a burden. And the difference to me is challenge is a growth opportunity. A burden is something that I feel that hampers you. So I'm prepared to look at certain challenges of type 1 diabetes. What I don't accept is it being a burden, and
Yes.
especially in these times. So that's my sort of long-winded answer, Snehal, to your very crisp question. But I just felt I wanted to share a couple of things that I've struggled with also, even if it was just mentally or just being able to get the clarity on it. So I hope this may help someone, someone like Harry, who's 9 years old, 10 years old, right? He doesn't have to wait to be 45 to understand this.
Yeah.
So that's my hope.
Thank you. I think what you said about the way you perceive things and your attitude towards things, and about how as people who have T1, there's a certain discipline that we've all had from the beginning that's really helped us through the journey. I know that a couple of folks are watching that are also newly diagnosed, and if it's okay to call out Rishikesh, I know you're probably watching this as well, and your daughter is about 4.5 years old right now, and she's newly diagnosed, and we've been chatting on the group. um, if there's something that you'd like to ask, or any of our other friends that are watching here would like to ask or share, please pop it into the comment box. We're keeping an eye. A couple of more people joining. Hi Madhur, my mom is also here.
Oh,
Also another
lovely.
friend another friend from Israel is here. Hi, Liron. And there's a question from Rajiv ji, who's been T1 for over 60 years. So I'm just going to read that out for you. So he says, Princess, kudos to you. And do you think that awareness about type 2 has increased over time? I mean, type 1, we're definitely talking about it and doing these things over the last few years. But what are your thoughts on type 2 related awareness?
I feel that because there's a stronger voice, this is a very personal perspective, and I feel I can't match Rajiv ji's two extra decades of living with type 1 than I have, so I'm not going to try and do that. But I do want to um, try to respond to his question. I feel with type 2, it's created a lot more confusion about type 1. And I think, just given a similar name, it's hard for people who are not living with it to distinguish. They're almost, in my head, they seem like two opposite conditions. In one conditions, those of us, Nupur and Snehal and I included, with type 1, it's an autoimmune condition, right? Where our pancreas is not producing enough insulin to regulate glucose levels. That's what type 1 is. There isn't anything else going on. Type 2, I don't fully understand it. What I do know is there's resistance to insulin. We need
Right.
insulin, and type 2 has a resistance to insulin. So yeah, it might have to do with the same hormone, but it's almost, in my head, it's an opposite condition of sorts. Um, so yes, I think you have a valid point. There is a lot of chatter and conversations about type 2. Does that mean there's more awareness? I don't know. I personally feel, with my own interactions, that sometimes people forget what type 1 is, and
Exactly.
they mistake it for type 2. So that's been my personal experience, but again, that's quite limited. So I don't want to be overly general, but
Yeah. I just want to
yeah.
jump in quickly to mention that. So he's put in a comment saying, sorry, it was a typo, and I meant type 1. Has the awareness about type 1, do you feel it's increased over the years?
Not enough, Rajivji, just not enough. Maybe on paper, yes, of course. Was I doing this in 1990? No. So, yes, there has been an increase. But the sort of awareness that type 1 should have, we haven't reached there yet. I feel we have a long road ahead of us. But if we continue to stay committed to making sure that not only do we create more type 1 awareness for ourselves, but also for those, who are newly diagnosed. You don't want them to suffer through the stigma we have, right? And that's what really motivates me. I'm comfortable with my type 1. Whatever someone has to say about my type 1, it doesn't move my emotions as much as they did when I was 13 and 17 and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm at a very comfortable, secure place in that sense, of course, because I've dealt with it for 40 years. But my reason of wanting to really move the needle on the narrative is that the truth needs to be out, the correct information needs to be out, so those who are living with the condition can live fully. I don't think I had that opportunity early on. Life was fine and it was good in that sense, but I really do feel the lack of awareness that was around it did take some elements away from me. And I don't want that for those who are newly diagnosed today.
Absolutely. And I think me and Nupur, we feel very touched upon by this topic, like the awareness and education around type 1 diabetes, especially, is still so low. I
Right,
mean, it's increased, but it's not increasing at the pace that we want to see it.
right.
And it hurts my heart to see even today, like cases of misdiagnosis of type 1 and complications because of that delay in
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis. So I think at
Mm-hmm.
Blue Circle, it's now our vision to kind of create so much awareness, do these awareness sessions at rural levels, low resource setting levels, and corporates, housing societies, and just for everyone to know, like, these are the four symptoms, like extreme weight
Right,
loss, frequent urination, fruity
right.
breath, uh, getting sick, all of these things. And that's our vision for Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation, is to ensure that we are able to reduce these cases of misdiagnosis to zero in the next couple of years.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. There is no reason for type 1 diabetes not to be diagnosed in time. There's really no reason for that to happen. Is it happening? Yes. And as Nupur said, that's what we are fighting today. That, listen, when you see these symptoms, get yourself checked. Get the, if it's someone get them checked. There is insulin. It's not a death sentence. It really isn't. So I agree with you, Nupur, 100%. And you're right. The pace of it needs to move faster as well, because the slower it is, the more people are being harmed,
Correct.
right? So it's not the lack of pace or the slowness of it where we're being impatient. It is the fact that the slowness of it is causing lives that it shouldn't.
Correct.
So let's really try and get out there. Let's find ways to be able to talk about it concisely, specifically, precisely, in a
Yeah.
way that it can truly make a difference.
Yes, and I know that Snehal and I know that you really walk the talk. It's not just that you're saying it. We've known you over the years, and you may just say it in passing, or you may just say it casually. But if there's something that you've said or you want to see it done, you really get after it. And I also want to quickly remind all our friends that you may have noticed we've done a lot of school diabetes awareness programs in Zilla Parishad schools off late over the last few weeks. And in the month of December, we are about to cover over 5,000 students, in and around Pune and other areas in Maharashtra. So these
Oh,
are people,
fantastic.
and thank you so much. And the really interesting observation is, and I know you made this earlier, and so did Rajiv ji, that type 1 conversations were not occurring a few years ago, in the larger sort of scheme of things. But now every school we go to, either we meet a child who already has type 1,
Mm,
even if it's a government school, a Zilla Parishad school, a school that's like not English medium and a little out of the city. Even then, either we're meeting, so day before we met three children in a school with type 1 diabetes, and this
mm,
was a government school outside of Pune. Um, and if not a child with type 1, then we speak to teachers who've interacted with or helped children during their career who've had T1. So we can see the numbers are going up.
mm.
I mean, our country has the highest number of young people and children with T1 now. So I think what you said, Princess, is we really need to pick up the pace, because we all know the story of Rushil, and I don't know if his dad is tuned in today, but his father is very active in our community. And Rushil in 2020 lost his life because his diagnosis didn't happen. So and we share Rushil's story in every school that we go to, because these are simple symptoms that anyone, parents, family members, doctors can catch. And we, like Princess said, we cannot have anybody losing their life for something that
No.
is so preventable, and it's just not done. I mean, back in the day, in the 80s, 90s, uh, we can understand there was misinformation, there was lack of support. But I think today there are so many of us, and we're all together in communities
Right.
like this one. So there is really no excuse. We're also got friends tuning in from Melbourne. Hi, Kalpana. Thanks for coming in. And a question from Rishikesh, whose daughter is 4.5 and just diagnosed. So his question to you is, I want to know how you and your parents handle this so well. Your state of mind and your knowledge is really commendable. And all that he can think of at this point is, how can he get his daughter to be well raised in the same manner and be independent like you, and he says, I'm getting emotional and can't say more, but like, how do I do this? Like, they're just at the beginning of their journey.
No, I listen. I remember the beginning of my journey like yesterday, and I appreciate that question because it truly gives me an opportunity to talk about what I really like to talk about, and that is how we handle ourselves and some of the people you see with type one, and you feel that, oh, how well they're doing. For me, the answer was my mother was so strong. It didn't she wasn't bothered in the sense she wasn't that's not the appropriate word. She wasn't burdened by it. She didn't feel that, oh my god, now what's going to happen. She's like, all right, had a conversation with the doctor. She's like, oh, I need to give my daughter the insulin. I have always for the last 40 years taken insulin. I have never been off insulin. My mother was clear, that's a medicine I need, that my body is not producing. And so she was just very clear, very kind, and very upbeat about it. I just never saw her be negative. So I do want those parents, such as yourself, to hear that how you feel has a huge impact on us. And if you were to ask me to give you one example of what really helped me to be positive about it and go for it, and that has been for me my mother's response to me, her mental attitude about it. I've never seen her down about it. I mean, in the last 40 years, she's never once said to me, like, oh, I wish you didn't have it. She was just like, oh, are you doing this? Are you traveling there? Are you playing this sport? I mean, there wasn't there she was never choked up about it. That gave me so much confidence. Having your parent, having someone you love and look up to feel okay about you makes us feel okay. And I just can't say it enough. I can't tell those of you who are also caretakers for others that we take strength from your strength. And it works the other way around too. When you feel disturbed and dejected, we feel disturbed and dejected. For me, I was very fortunate that my mother kept such a positive attitude, and if I'm doing that today, I know nothing will bring her more joy to know that I've not let it come in the way of anything. But that's because she didn't, right? So please know that those people around us, our loved ones, how you feel, and even if you're trying to hide it, we can pick up on it. There were other things that my mother was trying to hide from me, didn't want me to know. I'd pick up on that. But having a problem with me having type 1 was not a problem. So I think it's single-handedly the reason for I think what you've called as my attitude. It really comes from her strength.
And we have Nupur's mother also here, and she has added a comment saying, it's small baby steps taken in the right direction with scientific attitude and always been by the side of your child.
Exactly. I mean, she's articulated it much better than my sort of all over the place, but that's exactly what I mean. Just being positive, making sure you're doing the right thing, and being aware and conscious. And again, distinguishing between a challenge and a burden. This can be a challenge, it doesn't have to be a burden.
I really love how you said that sentence, and I have taken a mental note of it, and I'm going to use that when I talk to any other newly diagnosed parents or like a child. I think that that's very important, and that's very subtly gives you a mind shift change, like how your perspective changes towards that.
Exactly, exactly. Because if I'm to go out and tell people like, oh, it's no big deal, that's not true. I'm not going to look someone in the eye and lie, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it is a big deal in so many ways, but that is for anyone, right? Life is a big deal for anyone. We're all trying to, get through it, trying to do our best under our given circumstances, with or without type 1. But if we're here in this community, we're talking about type 1, let's call a challenge, but let's also figure out a way to have it work for us instead of against us. Because we are at a time when insulin is available. 100 years ago, insulin wasn't. I wouldn't have been saying the same things to you that I'm saying today at that time. But today it's called a miracle drug. It's because of what we can be around for our full life. And and I think we're also working, and I know Nupur and Snehal are also a part of making sure that the accessibility of this drug becomes much easier. I know it's a challenge, and it's certainly a bigger challenge in countries like India. I don't want to act as if it's not. And we have to work with at several different levels, right? We have to work at the community level, which I know Nupur and Snehal are sort of rock stars at. We have to work at the government level. We have to work at political levels, and so on and so forth. There's just very different verticals, and each vertical has to be able to carry and bear that. But we've identified that, right? And now we're working towards it. The plan is much clearer. So
Right.
I feel that in that sense, the previous question about, is there enough awareness about type 1? I think it was from Rajiv ji. There should be. Is it? No, but there should be. We're very close. But we've got to keep at it. We've just really got to keep at it. We've got to keep at it for ourselves. We've got to keep at it for the newly diagnosed.
Absolutely. Harry has put in a comment for his mom, Poonam, that he says, I'm so lucky and my mom is always strong and positive, and I can totally vouch for that. Poonam is incredible, and she's really, Harry is turning into a lovely young man who just happens to have type 1 diabetes. Suresh from Nepal says he really loves that it's a challenge and not a burden. And just like Snehal and me, I think he's taking that away as well from today's conversation. We also have Lucy from Spain, our other T1 friend who's joined in, and she agrees about the role of mothers and parents and caregivers. That really shape us into the people that we are, and really contributes to our professional and personal growth. And I want to take that sort of opportunity to talk about your experience as a professional and a philanthropist, and what made you start Friends of Mewar, your NGO, and what was the sort of idea and what does it do?
Well, Nupur, the story is goes back to the time of transition, and I think a lot of us, when we're going through a time of transition and things don't seem very clear, right? The transition sometimes, most of the times, I mean, there might be some exception to this rule, but not many, where that transitional time feels overwhelming. And I was going through that while I was moving countries. I just got married. I was moving from India to the US. So there were a lot of thoughts going on. And of course, my question always remained that how do I continue to be the best version of myself? By that point, and thanks to type 1, I'd learned that, right? What is it that I can do well, and that is know what my best version is and work towards it. So that was the initial thought. I think that was the birth of Friends of Mewar, to find a way to contribute in a tangible way. Now, all of us with type 1, we know we need to know what our blood sugars are so we can respond. So that tangible element is a very important element that we always carry with us. And that was the same reason for me to look at Friends of Mewar and say, okay, I can do many things, but if I can't find a tangible way, if I can't show the blood glucose level on what I'm doing, then it almost becomes ineffective in my mind. And so I have, since I've been so committed in so many ways of knowing that, I wanted to bring that to my professional life as well, because I know that I can do that, right? I am on top of my blood glucose. It is an important element for me to stay healthy. So the birth of my foundation came from that, to find the pillars that I'm most inspired by, so I can continue to work, contribute, inspire, be inspired, in that sense, and then still have an accountability, right? I mean, that is what, when every time I check my blood glucose, that's what it all this stands for. So now I'm drawing a parallel between my professional life and the birth of my nonprofit. But just for you, this is a very personal story I can share with those who do have type 1. If I have this conversation with those who don't, trust me, they're not going to get it. But I know those of you who are listening to me today, you get it, right? That there has to be a base, there has to be something that motivates you, there has to be something that you can see clearly. And in our case, it's always the blood glucose level, right? Every decision of ours regarding our type 1 is based on that. So I took that with me, I took that as a strength, and said, how do I do something now in the United States of America after having moved from Udaipur, which is where I am today, and find a way to sort of grow the story of Udaipur, the people of Udaipur, the region of Udaipur more globally. So that is what led to it, and I came up with Friends of Mewar. We have three pillars. One of them is preventative healthcare, and of course, advocacy for type 1 is a big project. We also have adopted about 23 villages around Udaipur to remove all preventable blindness. Preventative healthcare is, it has all matters that have some direct or indirect relation to health. Women's empowerment is another project, and then preservation of cultural heritage is our third pillar. So these are the three pillars that Friends of Mewar works off. But today, you know that where the birth of it came from, how I used the experience I've had for 40 years. A lot of people don't know that, because I don't know how to explain it to them. I don't know how to tell them how certain decisions of our day, every day, depend on a tangible outcome. But I, like I said, I know all of you get it, and so find that calling within yourself, that you deal with type 1 every day, whether you like it or not, whether you want to or you don't, you do, right? And what is it about it that encourages you? What is it about it that empowers you? What is it about it that makes your mind clearer? And take that and run with it, and find your mission, find your goal from that. Whether you're going to whether you're going to become an athlete, whether you're going to become an engineer, whether you're going to do a nonprofit, whether you're going to be a mother, whatever your interests are. I felt finding that calling from type 1, because I'd had it the longest. It feels encouraging, and I enjoy it. I get it. And when I talk to people like you, I know you guys get it. So it's that's my story.
Absolutely. That's so wonderful, like how something that has inspired you from living with type 1 and has become such a big project for you, and that's doing such a wonderful work, like all the three pillars you talked about, I think phenomenal. And I'll request all of our audiences here today to go and check Friends of Mewar on all the social media handles to see the
Thank
wonderful
you.
and incredible work they are doing, and the journey that has been along with the princess's efforts and her putting in her time, and that's amazing. And before we move forward, I think Nupur, I will like to bring all of us back to talk about the calendar and the unveiling, and because none of us or the audiences are receiving the calendars now, and they're just taking a look at it. But for those of you who have not placed your orders yet, so we can just Nupur, would you like to give a brief about what our calendar is all about?
Yes, absolutely. So that is the calendar right there in our hands, and you can see right on the first page. for the month of January. We have Princess Padmaja on the calendar on her birthday, in her birthday month. It's a calendar that features incredible people that live with diabetes, and each person there is there not just because they have diabetes, but also because there's some sort of, they've done incredible things. Whether it's someone like the princess who's, we've been hearing her journey today and her story, or it's a 4-year-old baby, or it's somebody elderly. We've got like a wide spectrum of people from different backgrounds, different sort of experiences in life, who are all on this calendar, and this is the sixth edition of it. So we've been doing this for a while now, and we thought, if there can be calendars for, that feature models and glamorous sort of, why can people with diabetes not have a little fun and spread some cheer and motivate each other. So that was the sort of idea behind having the calendar in the first place, and we're incredibly grateful and lucky to in our journey as a community also to come across some wonderful people, like Princess Padmaja here, who's as if anyone's just newly joined, had type 1 diabetes. She's had type 1 diabetes for almost 40 years, and she's been sharing her incredible journey, as a person with type 1, as a woman, as a professional, the whole thing that really makes her who she is. So that's kind of the calendar right here, and we're going to put in the link to purchase the calendar into the chat box, and those who'd like to order the calendar are welcome to do that, and it's
Yeah, I encourage it. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Nupur, but I
yeah.
just ordered 50, and I had made the mistake of getting a few less last time. People loved it, so I had to do it all over again this year, and I can assure you that, I mean, of course, I didn't give it to those, or I didn't only give it to those who have type 1, right? This was distributed among my friends, my professional colleagues, acquaintances, what have you, and everyone received it with so much interest, curiosity, and to Rajiv ji's original question, we were able to share the correct information about type 1, make the awareness around level up the awareness about type 1. So what Nupur and Snehal are doing is, again, they very kindly gave me the compliment, but to reciprocate it back to them, they are putting their money where their mouth is and bringing about awareness around type 1 in a very positive way. We don't have to just talk about complications of type 1 and create fear, right? They're doing it in a positive way. They're showcasing people who are living different types of lives in spite of having the condition. So, of course, I highly encourage all of you today to go ahead and just not only support type 1, but support this movement of creating positivity around type 1.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, it's only us, who can really talk about it, advocate for it, and create the awareness that it deserves to have. At this point, I think we have a huge population of people with type 1 diabetes in India, and it nearly doesn't get enough attention, like we were discussing earlier. So, do your bit, talk about it, put it up, don't be afraid to share. And even if at some point you don't want to talk about it, know that your community is there for you, and people, we get it, we understand. Going to quickly also run by a few other fun things. I can see Snehal has the stickers in her hand. So the stickers right here, designed by one of our friends living with type 1 diabetes, and you can see, right there, there's some fun stickers, including some stickers that you can put on your insulin pen. So a lot of the times people, and those that Snehal is pointing out are for the sensors. You can have these cute little stickers that talk about all the type 1 power that you can stick onto your sensor, and then glucometers or notebooks, also a little a squirrel there that says that it's for your bolus pen, and a giraffe because long acting, long. So it's something fun, not just for children, but I also find it really quite amusing and cute. So those are the stickers right there. And then we've also got an ID card that is something you can keep in your wallet, or for a child, they can wear it around their neck. So this is something that is there on the link that we've shared as well. And things are things are priced in a way that I believe the ID card is around 49-50 rupees. So we understand these are important things. Some of them are nice to have, but some are pretty important. I mean, you don't want to be outside one day and not have backup on you. And of course, we have our mobiles these days, and we have those lock screens that have our emergency contacts. But it's also good to have good old paper and cards with us. We've also got this these masks. And I know we're not really wearing masks as much, but it's also something we've got. And the last one or two things, we've got this little gubber here that says "Kitne carbs the." So this is a magnet that
That's a
lives
good
on.
one.
So this magnet lives on the fridge, and every time I head to the fridge, I'm like, oh, all right, okay, I know I have to count my carbs. And then another one that has this little unicorn that we're all sort of hoping and working towards. So lots of fun stuff, and just a reminder for everyone to stay involved, stay engaged with the community. You're not alone, even if you're not actively involved all the time. Keep an eye out, talk to people, reach out when you have to, and we're all we're all there for you. Also mindful of time. If there are any last questions or thoughts, we can see a couple of comments, but just quickly want to ask if anybody has any last questions or comments that you'd like us to take up, and we'll be
By the
happy
time
to.
we see any questions coming in, we would like to play a fun, quick, rapid fire round with the princess. So, are you
Oh,
ready?
wow. I wasn't prepared for this one.
Okay, it's going to be very fun. It's going to be very simple, and whatever just comes to your mind. Okay, we'll get started.
Okay. Let's do this.
Um,
So
what's your
you're going to give
favorite?
me a word and I have to give you what I think about it.
I will give you maybe one or two options, or maybe I'll ask you a basic question. For
Okay.
example, let's do like a practice. Do you have like a nickname?
Uh, I like my full name, so those who are not calling me by my nickname, just stick to Padmaja.
Okay. Okay. What is your hobby?
I love to travel. I enjoy movies. I like certain books. And of course, my hobby's got to be managing type 1, right? That goes in the hobby section. You've got to just do it every day. You're interested and so that's another one.
Yeah. Are you a cat person or a dog person?
100% dog person.
What's your favorite carb?
Favorite carb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have a few. But I love Indian food. I love our desi food. So rotis, if I'm having a good old fashioned thali, can't do that without rotis or chawal and things like that. It's the simple things, and I always have time and place for that. I don't deprive myself of that. And
Yeah.
so it's a longer list, but for the sake of this game, I'll stick to roti and rice for today. Tomorrow it might change.
That's all right. What's one superpower you wish you had?
Well, I can tell you the superpower I think I have. And then I can tell you about the superpower I wish I had. The superpower I think I have is I don't get jet lagged. It makes life
Wow.
very easy for me to travel, and especially when I'm traveling across continents. And I know we have people from Australia, and we have people from Spain, and of course from India and Nepal and all of that. So hello to all of you, and thank you for joining. And yeah, so when I'm in Australia, I will be on the Australian time zone straight away. Well, I guess it depends where in Australia, but let's just say Sydney. And the same for the US. And I find that I don't know if others think that, but I personally feel that it's a superpower, which helps me to
Absolutely.
then come from Boston to Udaipur for like 2 days, and I'm okay. So
Wow.
that feels like a superpower. What would I like to have as a superpower? Just to be able to. I don't know if I fit the context of the rapid fire in this, because I'm struggling with it. But maybe for all those who have type 1, for them to realize that they're okay. If I
Yeah.
could do something by which they know that they got this, they can thrive, that would make me feel very fulfilled, because I know that they can.
Yeah, yeah. What's your favorite cartoon character?
Uh, God, my daughters have all these new ones, but I'm gonna stick to my old time Spider-Man. I love how things just come out of his wrists and he can just go from one place to the other, and so I guess I'm gonna have to go with that.
What's your favorite emoji?
Some form of heart, either the hearts in the eyes, or the red heart, or the blue heart, or the pink heart. Or I don't know what any of them stand for, but I just like them, and I probably misuse them. Where I'm supposed to send a blue, I probably send a red, and where I'm supposed to send a red, I send a pink. But I still love it. So, but because it's my favorite.
Tea or coffee?
Both. Sorry, I do coffee in the mornings usually, but I've just had some chai.
Okay, mountains or beaches?
Oh, that's a tough one, Snail. You're supposed to take it easy on me. I'll go for mountains.
Okay, okay. What was the last song you were listening to?
I was trying to put on an Instagram story yesterday, and the song I was debating between, there were like two, three of them, and I think I'm gonna have to go with Benson Boone, "Beautiful Things."
Okay. I really like this question, because I get to listen to what people are suggesting, and I then
Mm,
quickly go and listen to the songs, because that I think that's the best way to increase your the genre of songs that you listen to. So I'm always very
absolutely.
keen on hearing what the other person has to say. Okay, I'll go with the one last
Exactly.
one. Yeah. One last one is what's your favorite season?
The hotter, the better. So summer.
That's great. That's good to know.
Fun. That was a fun
Absolutely.
rapid fire.
No, that was great. God, now I'm going to be thinking about these questions. I was like, oh, maybe I should have said this. But no, that's why they're called rapid round, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I know this one last question is not exactly related, but I'm going to quickly, take it. So Tasleem, she's a parent to two daughters with T1, and her question is, does protein spike sugar levels at dinner? So Tasleem, प्रोटीन से भी स्पाइक होता है बट आपको इंसुलिन लगाना पड़ेगा जैसे आप कोई भी खाने के लिए लगाते हो सो इंसुलिन इज नेसेसरी यू जस्ट हैव टू प्ले अराउंड अ लिटिल बिट टू फिगर आउट कब इंसुलिन लगाना है कितना लगाना है कार्ब्स के लिए थोड़ा ज्यादा इंसुलिन और प्रोटीन्स के लिए थोड़ा सा कम बट ओवर टू स्नेहल एंड पद्मजा इफ देयर इज एनीथिंग दे वांट टू ऐड इन दिस शॉर्ट
नहीं, मुझे मुझे भी यही बोलना था जो नुपुर ने बोला, कि हर व्यक्ति के लिए अलग रिक्वायरमेंट्स होती हैं। तो यही समझना ज़रूरी है कि अपना ब्लड शुगर, अपनी बॉडी, अपना दिमाग, अपनी इमोशनल सेटिंग, ये सारी अलग-अलग चीज़ें का इफ़ेक्ट और इम्पैक्ट क्या होता है अलग-अलग खानों पे। इस कारण मुझे जो प्रोटीन के लिए लेना पड़ता है वो आपके डॉटर से अलग हो सकता है, लेकिन वो समझना कठिन नहीं है और वो समझना ज़रूरी है. It's not difficult to understand that, but it's important to understand that.
Yeah. And before we wrap up, Princess, do you have any favorite trick or any tip that you would like to share with our audience related to
Don't
type
dep-
1?
don't deprive yourself. Don't deprive yourself. Don't deprive yourself of anything. Just don't.
Thank you. I think we've had such an amazing session, and I know Rishikesh and all of the other parents and people that are living with type 1 have really, really enjoyed it. And a lot of people are going to watch the recording as well. That'll remain on the page on Facebook. So we'd like to thank you, Princess Padmaja, once again for making the time. I know you have a crazy schedule, running between cities, countries, continents,
But I
and I
love
think.
being here. I love being here and I love being with both of you. So thank you.
Thank you, and wishing you a wonderful and restful Sunday, and to everyone else as well. Have a lovely Sunday evening, and we'll see you again next Sunday, 5 p.m. as usual, for another episode of the workshops. Thanks once again, and bye-bye.
Brilliant.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.